Good afternoon. So today we're going to be checking out the Hallmaster steel motorcycle carrier with 600-pound capacity I just got from Harbor Freight. We're going to unbox it and build it and then try to get the old Africa Twin on it and see how that works. The Africa Twin's about 500 pounds, so it should be well within the parameters of this. So let's see what it looks like. Gross weight on this is 44 kilograms. I'll put the conversion of pounds. It has a warning on it. 2 people to lift because it's between 50 and 90 pounds. So it's a beast. It's heavy. So we're gonna open it up. I already cut all the tape already because I need to bore you with that. Let's look at it for the first time. All right. A lot of pieces. Screws, bolts, nuts, and a pin. Seems to be packaged pretty well if you care about that kind of thing. It's the tire lock. Oh, that's a square U-bolt and plate. Directions. We may refer to those later. All right, it all looks pretty good. Powder coating looks really nice on it. Really nice finish. Obviously, it's the part that goes into the receiver, and then I guess all of this bolts to that. All right. We'll get here we go. All right. Here's the assembly diagram. I hope you can see that. That should be fairly simple. So whenever I'm building something like this, I always like to take apart all the nut and bolt packages and just lay them out in an orderly fashion, preferably in a place where you're not going to kick them across your shop floor and send nuts and bolts into the abyss where you'll never find them again. This is what I like to do. Also, you can confirm the count of the nuts and bolts that you have. Yeah, going along super easy. We just needed, the first thing we did was put the receiver mount to the plate where the motorcycle's actually fastened to. It just required 6 nuts and bolts. It's all metric, 10 millimeter bolts, and we needed a 17 millimeter on the nut and a 16 millimeter on the bolt. Next, we're going to put on these cross beams here and bolt on the part where the motorcycle front tire locks into. Okay, still really simple. We just put this cross bracket on here with the longer bolts that come in the kit. Now we only have 6 more, I think 10 millimeter bolts left to put on. So this is the bracket that goes on where you can fasten your tie strap to. So far on the build, the only thing I don't really care about is there's no washers under the nuts or bolts. So they're digging into the finish coating there. I mean, I could always go and pick up some washers for a couple dollars and add that to it. But these are Nylock nuts and they seem to be really tight. So now we're just going to continue building this. We're going to put the part where the front tire rolls into now. Well, it's all built. That literally took about 15 minutes. No big deal. There's just a picture how to do it. I call that a PhD. And no words to explain. And for the most part, it doesn't really need explaining. You know, the ramp, cotter pin, and bolts to safely on the inside there. The only thing that moves on this is this wheel chock. I'll call it a chingus because everything's a chingus. So it has 2 bolts on it, and you're supposed to ride your motorcycle up, and then this will cam over and then lock it into the front wheel part. So I tightened down these bolts till it wouldn't move, then backed it off a little bit. So now there's some tension. So it'll just hold in place. So when a 500-pound motorcycle hits it, it'll be no big deal. And that will surely loosen with time. So we'll go try it out. So this is the ramp it comes with. It's got index pins here with aligning balls, so it won't slip out from under you. Yeah, that is nice. This is a stabilizer plate to go here, and it'll prevent this from moving up and down. So we'll put that on here in a minute. I'm gonna try to get my motorcycle up there and see how that works. Well, I thought I hit the record button. I'm glad I did it. That was kind of sketchy. I was able to get my motorcycle up on there. I have to adjust that rear wheel chock up one. That's it. We'll try it again. I think it's worth noting that when I put this together, I put these bolts facing out because they were protruding that way. That's where your front tire goes. We don't want to do any undue nicks and tears on your tire, your front tire anyway. Kind of important when you ride motorcycles. So it was sticking out this far. So I just flipped them around. These ones don't matter because the front tire ramps over that and locks into there. And this is where the stabilizer goes. This thing, when it tightens down, it holds tension on the receiver and it eliminates this from moving about a whole lot. Well, obviously it's not tied down, but that rack is handling that motorcycle no problem. So a couple takeaways from only loading my motorcycle twice thus far is, always have your straps ready. I was just test fitting. I should have thought about that before I wrestled a 500-pound motorcycle around. The other thing that I'm going to add immediately is some tread tape. Because right when you get about there, twice, when it hits that swiveling wheel chock, it has to go up about 4 inches, so it kind of acts like a wheel, a stop, but sits on there nice. The wheel chock fits good, and then we have 4 points of contact for the tie strap. So overall, okay. Needs a little bit of modification, but we're going to be all right. I like it. All right, here's what it looks like all packed up. The ramp just bolts onto here. It's got a little cotter key to keep that from coming loose and flying off on the highway. Actually, it's nice and clean looking. What I can't say about this, having loaded my Africa Twin on here twice, is it does feel a little flimsy. I'm going to have to reinforce a few things.
Adventures.
Okay, just give it a tug, bud.
That's what he said?
He's not even sharing a tent. He wants to already give him a tug.
Tacopa. What happens in Tacopa?
That went way better than it ever has.
You're welcome.
In the history of this. Piece of cake, man.
Easy, easy.
All right, so I loaded up my Africa Twin and I towed it to Tacopa, California for a ride. And I'm going to tell you, this is a little flimsy. It moves about. So I got to try to do something to get that fixed. Yeah, we'll work on it. But I mean, it did its job. It didn't fall off. I did hit some really big bumps, you know, but it's just kind of the first time using this thing. It wobbles a little bit, so we'll modify it a little. We'll keep tabs on how I do that.